Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. How's everyone today? I hope you're good. It's kind of gloomy out, so that always makes me feel a little, mm. But I have my coffee this morning and I'm ready to continue with our story. Mm, love it. All right. So we've been reading the stories Julian tells, and I left you at a cliffhanger. That's a point in the story where the excitement is really building, and you're not really sure what's going to happen. And we were at that point where Julian and Huey are under the bed, and their dad has grabbed them and said, "I can tell you one thing. There's going to be some beating here now. There's going to be some whipping." And I asked you guys to make a prediction as to what you think was going to happen in the story. Um, I didn't hear from many of you. So when you guys get done writing, please send me a picture of what you're doing. I'm going to be working on setting up a conference time for us where we can actually all talk together using a Zoom platform. So maybe you've heard of that. So that should be coming sometime soon, either today or tomorrow. I might get a hold of your parents. So keep on the lookout for that, please. So, what do you guys think? What's going to happen? There's going to be some beating and there's going to be some whipping going on. Some whipping and some beating. Ah. Today, as I read to you, I want you guys to be thinking about what's happening in um, the story with the characters. You're actually going to be doing a little bit of recording in your book, and I'd like you guys to get out your writing journal. Um, Yesterday, I asked you to do some things with the important book. We're going to come back to that. Today, I want you to find a fresh page. I put today's date on there. I don't know if you guys are remembering to put the date in your journal, but I put the date at the top. And we have three characters I want you to track today. I'm going to be stopping and I'm going to be asking you questions. So the first character is Huey. He's the little brother. So I want you to write Huey and I want you to make a box. And what I did is I put Huey's name here and I used 3 lines to make a little box, a little square. Then I skipped a space and then I made another little box and then a third little box. Then I skipped a line and I knew I was going to make 3 lines, so I put Julian's name 2 spaces down and I'm going to make 3 more squares. So I'm going to give you guys time to grab your journals. If you need to pause the video, just hit the pause so you can come back to this point. I'm going to make the next boxes. So I'm going to do that. It's hard for me to do this so you can see, but I'll try to do it. So Julian's right there, and I'm just going to make, a little square. It doesn't really matter. Just do the best you can. It's just going to be a place where I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to have you write a word or draw a little picture. This is like a think along that we do in school. Hope everything's going okay for you guys. So we have a place for Huey. We have a place for Julian. And then also let's be thinking about what's happening with Julian's dad. Okay. And let's draw a box there. Okay. For Julian's dad, now you can see mine's not perfect. Doesn't matter. Lots of different ways we could do this too. This is just what I was thinking of. So we're going to have our beginning, our middle, and our end. So I'm going to put a B for beginning, middle of the story or some point in the story where I say, what's going on? And then the end. So if you need to, now would be the time to stop the video, get your paper set up, make sure it kind of looks like this or something similar, and we're ready to go. All right, here we go. Okay. I can tell you one thing, he said. There is going to be some beating here now. There is going to be some whipping. The curtains at the windows were shaking. Huey was holding my hand. Go into the kitchen, my father said, right now. We went into the kitchen. "Come here, Huey," my father said. Huey walked toward him, his hands behind his back. So here's where you're going to stop. And now we're talking about Huey. Write a word right here that lets me know what you think Huey's feeling. He's walked towards his dad. His hands are behind his back. How is Huey feeling? Write a word there, or maybe draw a little picture, maybe some sort of face or something to say how Huey is feeling. Oof, I don't know. "See these eggs?" my father said. He cracked them and put the yolks in a pan and set the pan on the counter. He stood a chair by the counter. "Stand up here," he said to Huey. Huey stood on the chair by the counter. "Now it's time for your beating," my father said. Huey started to cry. His tears fell in with the egg yolks. That's a good way to check. How is he feeling right now? What's a word we could put in there? What's he doing? He's afraid. He's frightened. He's scared. He's crying. He does not know what's going on, but he's standing there at the counter. Oh. Huey started to cry. His tears fell in with the egg yolks. Take this," my father said. Now, I just stepped away for a second, so I thought that I would talk a little bit about this. So Huey had to go to the counter, and his dad grabbed some eggs, and he cracked the eggs and put the yolks in a pan and set the pan on the counter. So I'll show you that later. Oh, maybe I'll just show it to you right now. Why not? So he cracked the eggs. This is kind of cool. Let me see if I can do this. So take a look at the bowl. So he cracked the eggs and he put the yolks in the bowl. So I am going to actually have to grab another bowl. This is how you separate them. So that's the white part of the egg. Hey, buddy. You coming over here to learn too? And this is the yolk of the egg. It's the yellow part. So Huey's dad took this and put it into another bowl, and Huey's now standing at the counter with the egg yolks in the bowl, and his father is telling him to do something. I'm going to put that over there. Don't worry, we're going to do a whole thing a little bit later on. So let's get back to our story. All right, so now it's time for your beating, my father said. Huey started to cry. His tears fell in with the egg yolks. Now remember, the egg yolks are the yellow part of the egg there, and it's just the egg yolks that are in the bowl. So he had to separate them. Take this, my father said. My father handed him the egg beater. Now, beat those eggs, he said. I want this to be a good beating. What does Huey have to do? Oh, Huey said. He stopped crying and he beat the egg yolks. All right, so we're going to stop for just a second. So, how did Huey feel in the beginning? How is Huey feeling now? And what do you think about Julian's dad? How's he feeling? How do you feel in the beginning? How is Julian's dad feeling now? Use your journal to keep track of the characters and how they feel. There's a word that I would use for Julian's dad. Maybe he's like serious, or maybe he's like stern. Like he's basically making these guys do something. Is he angry? Is he calm? Is he serious? How is Julian's dad behaving in the beginning when he first grabbed the boys, when he's talking to them in the kitchen and he's having them do something, and then we're going to see at the end. So I might not necessarily stop, but make sure you're keeping track of that. And we haven't talked about Julian yet. I wonder what Julian's thinking as he's watching Huey at the counter beating the eggs. All right. Oh, Huey said. He stopped crying and he beat the egg yolks. So Huey's over here beating the egg yolks. Now you, Julian, stand here, my father said. I stood on a chair by the table. I hope you're ready for your whipping. What's going to happen? I didn't answer. I was afraid to say yes or no. Here, he said. He set the egg whites in front of me. I want these whipped and whipped well. Yes, sir, I said, and started whipping. My father watched us. My mother came into the kitchen and watched us. After a while, Huey said, This is hard work. That's too bad, my father said. Your beating's not done. So, how did Julian feel at the beginning? We're now kind of at the middle. How is he feeling right now? So keeping track of our characters. Your beating's not done. And he added sugar and cream and lemon juice to Huey's pan and put the pan on the stove. And Huey went on beating. My arms hurt from whipping, I said. How's Julian feeling right now? That's too bad, my father said. Your whipping's not done. So I whipped, and Huey beat and beat. Hold that beater in the air, Huey, my father said. Huey held it in the air. See, my father said, a good pudding stays on the beater, sorry. It's thick enough now. Your beating's done. Then he turned to me. Let's see those egg whites, Julian, he said. They were puffed up and fluffy. Congratulations, Julian, he said. Your whipping's done. And again, we can kind of keep track of the characters. How's Julian's dad feeling now? Has his feelings changed? How do you think Julian feels now? How does Huey feel? Your whipping's done. He mixed the egg whites into the pudding himself. Then he passed the pudding to my mother. A wonderful pudding, she said. Would you like some, boys? What do you think they're going to say? Do you think they're going to want some pudding? I mean, they made it. No, thank you, we said. She picked up a spoon. Why, this tastes like a whole raft of lemons, she said. This tastes like a night on the sea. Is that what you thought was going to happen? How many of you thought Julian and Huey were going to get a beating, like they were going to get a spanking and they were going to get a whooping? What did this mean in the story? They got a beating and they got a whooping. So now that we've taken track, or take some time actually to record what your characters are thinking in the end of our chapter, how is Huey feeling? How is Julian feeling? How is the dad feeling? A word, maybe a picture. And then today in your journal for your writing time today, I want you guys to tell me about this part of the story. How did the boys feel? How do their feelings change? Use the words beating and whipping in your writing. And see this little pencil? That's like editing. That means go through, read it, make sure that you have your capitals where you need your capitals and your end marks at the end of your complete thoughts. Make sure you've got good word usage and it sounds really exciting and tells a good story. So when you're done with that, I want you guys to send it to me, have mom or dad take a picture and text it to me so we can share it. And again, we're going to work on some Zoom technology so that we can share our work. Okay, so that's all for today. Be looking for something later. We are going to do some work with fractions and a lesson using lemons. I am going to get back to the important book that we talked about yesterday. I'm going to do another video for that, so look for that a little later today. And be safe, wash those hands, take care of yourself. I'm going to talk to you later. Bye, guys.